morning students. Last class we discussed about inserting an element into an array, deleting an element into an array. We have seen searching techniques, we have seen linear search and binary search. I discussed about the sorting techniques. I told what is sorting, the arrangement of elements either in the ascending order or in the descending order, we call it as sorting. So in sorting I spoke about different kinds of different types of sorting: quick sort, bubble sort, insertion sort, heap sort, okay, radix sort. We have seen a number of searching techniques, but for our syllabus we will discuss only one searching technique, that is insertion sort. Okay, so insertion sort, here we are going to arrange the elements in the, we are going to sort the elements in the ascending order. So I have written the algorithm, we just discuss the algorithm and we will get into the tracing. For your lab you have programs too. Now we will discuss the algorithm as well as this tracing. Next we will move on to the next concept. Now see, this is the sorting, this is nothing but the sorting the element, but this is nothing but your insertion sort. This is the algorithm for insertion sort. So insertion sort, step 1, I am using for loop. I am initializing for I is equal to 1 to n minus 1. So here why we are going to start I is equal to 1, in the sense assuming that the first element is falls in its place. That means the first element is in the ascending order. We need to assume the first element should be in the ascending order. We will compare the first element, the second element with the first element. That is how your insertion sort works. Okay. Later when the sorting process goes on, we will get the sorted array. So first initially I am initializing my I is equal to n, I is equal to 1 to n minus 1. Next I am giving my j to I, then I have while loop. For while j is greater than or equal to 1, then I have if statement. For if a of j is less than a of j minus 1, then there will be a sorting. If not, again we will check for the for loop gets incremented. So once everything ends, when the array is finished, once we finish traversing the array, sorting the elements, we will just end the while loop as well as the for loop and then we exit. Now we see according to this algorithm, we will see that tracing. Now see, I have taken a unsorted array. These are my array elements 70, 30, 40, 10 and 80. So you know that array subscript starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many array elements I have? I have 5 array elements. Now based on the algorithm, we will see the sorting. Now for I is equal to 1 to n minus 1, imagine now my j is equal to 1. What is my j value? J is equal to 1. While 1 is greater than or equal to 1, j is 1. Yes, 1 is equal to 1. If a of j, what is your a of j? A of j is 1. That is nothing but your 30. 30, what is a of j minus 1? A of 0, that is nothing but 70. So a of j is nothing but 30. A of j minus 1 is 70. 30 is less than 70. 30 is less than C. A of j, that is a of 1, here it is 30. A of j minus 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. A of 0 is 70. 30 less than 70? Yes. 30 is less than 70. Yes, 30 is less than 70. So your condition satisfied. Now we have to swap. So already even in the first year we have seen the swapping by using a temp variable and without using a temp variable. So you see what we have, if at all I want to sort, we need a temp variable. A of j I will give it to temp, a of j minus 1 I will give it to j, then temp I will give it to j minus 1. Finally the element is swapped. After this step, so we have the sorted arrays for the first pass 30, 70, 40, 10 and 80. This is 40, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now then we have if statement ends, j will become j minus 1, j was 1, 1 minus 1 is what? 0, j is 0. Again here the condition fails in the while loop. Again we will go for the for loop. For loop, now high value gets incremented from from 1 to 2. Now what is the high value? High value is 2. So j is equal to 2. So 2 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, 2 is greater than or equal to 1. Now what is my A of j? That is A of 2. What is A of 2? 40. What is A of j minus 1? 2 minus 1 is 1. What is A of 1 is 70. 40 is less than 70. Yes, 40 is less than 70. Your condition satisfies. Now again you need to swap. 30, 40, 70, 10, 80. Okay, now j will become j minus 1, that is 2 minus 1 is 1. Again, while loop condition satisfies. Now j value is 1. 1 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, 1 is greater than or equal to 1. Now what is A of 1 minus 1? That is A of 0. What is there in A of 0? 1 minus 1, 0. A of 0 we have 30. What is A of j? A of 1 is 40. Is 40 is less than 30? No, the condition fails. 40 is not less than 30. The condition fails. Will come out of the while. Again, I value gets incremented. I value gets incremented to 3. Okay. Now, what is your j value? 3. 3 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, 3 is greater than or equal to 1. What is A of j? A of 3 is 10. What is j minus 1? 3 minus 1 is 2. What is A of 2? 70. So now 10 is less than 70. Yes, 10 is less than 70. So the condition satisfies. We need to swap. So we need to swap. Okay. Now j will become 3 minus 1, that is 2. What is the j value now? J value is now 2. 2 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, condition satisfied. What is your A of j? That is A of 2. A of 2 is 10. 10 is less than 2 minus 1. That is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. That is 1. What is A of 1? A of 1 is 40. 10 is less than 40. Yes, condition satisfied. Again, we need to swap. 30, 10, 40, 70, 80. Okay. Now again j will become j minus 1, that is 2 minus 1 is 1. Now what is the j value? 1. 1 is less than or equal to 1. Yes, condition satisfied. Now what is A of 1? A of 1 is 10. Okay. Now what is A of 1 minus 1 is 0, that is 30. So 10 is less than or equal to 30. Yes, 10 is less than or equal. Again condition satisfies. Again you need to swap. 10, 30, 40, 70, 80. Now see here. Again your j will become, j value is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. When 1 minus 1 is 0, j 0 is less than or equal to 1. No condition fails. It comes out of your while loop. Now initially your j was, your I was incremented to 2. Now your I was incremented to 3. For loop initially it was incremented to, now it was incremented to 3. So your I value is 3, j value is 3. Now 3 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, 3 is greater than or equal to 1. Next we'll see how the while loop works. Okay. Now I value is, see, initially I have implemented I value to 1, next to 2. Now your current I value is 3. Now when increment I value is equal to 3, 3 is greater than equal to 1. Yes, 3 is greater than equal to 1. What is A of 3? A of 3 is 70. 70 is less than 80. Yes, 70 is less than 80. Condition fails. J will become j minus 1. Then 3 will become 2. J value will become 2. What is your 2? Okay. 2 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, 2 is greater than or equal to 1. What is A of 2? A of 2 is 40. What is A of 1? 30. 40 is less than 30. No, the condition fails. Again, your I value, it was 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. Now 1. 1 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, condition satisfied. What is A of 1? A of 1 is 30. 1 minus 1 is 0. What is there in one position? 10. 30 is less than 10. No, the condition fails. Now 1 will become, now J value was 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So here 0 is greater than or equal to 1. No, the condition fails. Again I'll increment my I value to 4. Okay. Now I'll check. 4 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, the condition satisfies. What is there in A of 4? A of 4 I have 80. 80 is less than, what is A of 4 minus 1? 3, that is 70. Is 80 is less than 70? No, the condition fails. Now my J value becomes 4 minus 1, that is 3. Okay, 3 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes. Now again I will be checking. What is there in A of 3? 70. 70 is less than 40. No, again the condition fails. So my J will become 3 minus 1, that is 2. 2 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, the condition satisfies. What is there in A of 2? 40. 40 is less than 30. No, the condition fails. Now my J will become 2 minus 1, that is 1. 1 is greater than or equal to 1. Condition satisfies. What is there in my 1? 30. 30 is less than 10. Okay, no, the condition fails. It come outside the loop. 1 minus 1 is 0. So 0 is greater than or equal to 1. No, the condition fails. Now again, so what is your I value? Now see, I value is 4. What is n minus 1? 5 elements. Your array elements are 5. 5. What is n minus 1? 5 minus 1. So n value is 4. So up to I value initialized to 1. Up to what the parts is 5 parts is we have to do. Up to the I value reaches to 4, you need to carry a for loop. Since we reach that I value is equal to 4, the condition fails, will come outside given the for loop. Then here it ends. So I repeat again from first. I will just explain how to do the insertion sort. This is how the sorting technique works. See, we have two loops. One is for loop, next one is while loop. When while loop fails only, I will increment the for loop. Okay. When this condition fails, this j minus j is equal to j minus 1. When this condition here our j value keeps on decrementing, and again here the while condition fails, I will come outside the while loop. I will go for loop, and for loop I will be incrementing up to when? Up to the array element size is reached, up to the number of elements. Number of elements minus 1 is nothing but 4. Till my fourth location I will be keep on tracing, I will be keep on doing the swapping. So now interchangeably we will be doing while loop and for loop. These are the only two loops we use in the insertion sort. So for I is equal to 1 to n minus 1, j is equal to I, while j is greater than or equal to 1. Next we have if statement, then we have a swapping, then we have j minus 1 will enter the while loop as well as the for loop. Now see we have an array 70, 30, 40, 10 and 80. Initially I value is equal to 1. Why? Because initially we will assume this 0th place 70 is in the correct place, and we will check with the first element. What is your first element? 30. Is 30 is less than 70. If the condition is true, we will do the swapping. Else we will not do. So here the condition satisfied. Yes, 30 is less than 70. We did the swapping. Okay. Again we checked. The for while loop ends, again we implemented I value 2. Again here we check. So here we checked 40 with 70. So here we did the swapping. So 30, 40 swapping is finished. Again we have 70 and 10. We did the swapping. I value got incremented to 3. Is 70? 10 is greater than 70. Yes. 10 is less than 70. Yes. 10 is less than 70. So again the swapping happens here. First it is between these two, next it was between these two, next it was between here. Next the swapping is from 10 and 40, next the swapping is between 10 and 30. Finally we have a sorted array. So what is your sorted array? Your sorted array is 10, 30, 40, 70, 80. Okay, this is your sorted array. So this is the sorting technique in which we discuss the insertion sort. So in insertion sort we used only two loops. One is while loop, next one is for loop. So inside the swapping we use while loop. Then if you want to compare with the other element, like after this, once the swapping is done, so we need to go for the for loop. Till while loop condition fails, we'll be keep on swapping. Once while loop ends, again for loop gets implemented. That is how we do the insertion sort. Next we'll do the row major and column major for arrays, for two-dimensional arrays. So we have seen about one-dimensional array and we discussed the searching and sorting techniques. Now next we'll see two-dimensional array. So next we'll see two-dimensional array. What is the definition for two-dimensional array? Two-dimensional array again is a collection of elements where each and every element is identified by a pair of indices. A pair of indices we call even as subscript. So we have, when we want to maintain the array elements in the matrix form, when we want to maintain the array elements, so we have rows and columns. In the matrix, obviously we have rows and columns. When we want to maintain the array elements which has rows and columns, we need to have two subscript, that is a pair of indices, or we can also call a subscript. So we use two-dimensional array. So two-dimensional array, I have A of I and j. So it is having two subscript I and j, where I value 0 is less than or equal to I, the I is less than or equal to m minus 1. So when we talk about matrix, we will talk about m cross n. That is, m stands for the row, n stands for column, m into n. So what is the m here? 3. What is the n here? 3. How many rows are there? 1, 2, 3. How many columns are there? 1, 2, 3. So m is nothing but your row, n is nothing but your column. So row and column. So here even I represent I value, then 0 is less than or equal to I, and that is less than or. The ith row and jth column, we call it as ith row and jth column. We can identify by using the two indices, that is I and j. It tells us, now if I tell A of, for j you have 0 less than or equal to j, which is less than or equal to n minus 1. For example, if I want to find out what is there in A of 0 and 2, in the 0th row, in the second column, what element I have? Element 3. So how will I identify? A of 0 and 2, A of 0, 2, in this address what element I have? I have element 3. So this we will discuss. When I take the row wise, we call it as a row major. When I discuss about column, it is called as column major. In the two-dimensional array, we have formulas for row major as well as column major. We discuss that now. In the next concept, we are going to discuss about row major and the column major. So now we will discuss about the representation of two-dimensional array in memory. So I have taken the matrix. That is, we have 2, minus 2, 3, 1, 0, 0, minus 3, 2, 2, 5. These are the elements which I stored in the matrix in the form of rows and columns. So it is m into n, that is m into n, 3 into 3, 3 cross 3 matrix, m into n matrices, m into n matrix. So they have discussed the two methods how to represent the two-dimensional array. We have two methods. We have row major and the column major. We have formulas. Okay, how to find the location of, see, any element. If I want to find the location of A of I and j, we'll have a formula base of A. Base of A is nothing but the base, that is the beginning address of an array, plus w. W is nothing but the number of words per memory location. Usually it will be 1 or 2. Now we have, if I want to mention the row major, I need to mention n here. For column major, I need to mention m here. Okay, that is the only difference between the formula in the row major and the column major. Since it's a row major, we have base A plus w, n into I. I stands for ith row, jth column. I minus L stands for lower bound. L stands for lower bound plus j minus LB. This is jth column minus LB. So this is the formula to calculate the given location. To calculate for the given element, if you want to calculate the location of this A of I and j, we have to use the formula base of A plus w. W is nothing but number of words per memory location into n of I minus LB plus J minus LB. So now I'll just mention the row major. In the row major, how we are going to represent the element. See now, A of 0, 0, A of 0, 0, A of 0, 1, A of 0, 2. Okay, for the first row, what are the elements I have? A of 0, 0, I have 2. A of 0, 1, I have minus 2. A of 0, 2, I have 3. So this is for your first row, the row major. Next we have the next row, A of 1, 1, A of 1, 0, A of 1, 1, A of 1, 2. So what I have here? 1, 0, minus 3. This is for your second row. Next I have A of 2, 0, A of 2, 1, A of 2, 2. So I have the elements as A of 2, 0 is 2, A of 2, 1 is 2, A of 2, 2 is 5. So this is for your third row. So for your row major, you will represent the array in this form. A of 0, 0. First we'll take row major. A of 0, 0, A of 0, 1, A of 0, 2. Next row, A of 1, 0, A of 1, 1, A of 1, 2. Next row, A of 2, 0, A of 2, 1, A of 2, 2. This is for your first row. This is for your second row. And the next one is for your third row. This is the representation of your two-dimensional array by using the row major method. Next we'll discuss the column major. Next we'll discuss about column major. So how to do the representation of two-dimensional array in memory by using the column major method. So in the column major again I've considered a matrix. So to find the location of A of I and J, the formula is, please you need to note down this formula for the row major and column major. Once I discuss this column major, we'll go to solve the problem. One problem we'll solve in row major. The next problem we'll solve in column major. Now location of A of I, to find out that you need to have base of A is the beginning base address of an array. Now it stands for number of words per memory location. W stands for number of words per memory location. I is your ith row, jth column. So we have lower bound. LB stands for lower bound. Now see here, we have in the matrix we have the number of rows into column. In the row matrix here we have multiplied n. In the column matrix, so in the column we are multiplying it by m. Okay, that is the only difference between the formula. Now how to do the representation of two-dimensional array by using the column major, I'll just show. A of 0, 0, A of 1, 0, A of 1, 0, A of 2, 0. Next, A of, first I have taken this column, next it will be the next column. A of 0, 0, A of 0, 1, A of 0, 1, A of 0, 2. Okay, this is for your column major. Next column, A of 1, 0, A of 1, 1, A of 1, 2. Next, A of 2, 0, A of 2, 1, next A of 2, 2. So I repeat, for the row major we have taken the row and then we just see the column. For column major, first we consider the column. A of 0, 0, A of 0, 1, A of 0, 2. So what is A of 0, 0? I have 2. A of 0, 1, I have 1. A of 0, 2, I have 2. What is A of 1, 0? Minus 2. A of 1, 1, 0. A of 1, 2, I have 2. What is A of 2, 0? 3. A of 2, 1, minus 3. A of 2, 2 is 5. So this is for your first column. This is for your second column. This is for your third column. So this is how we do the representation for row major and column major. Next we'll discuss the problem. Two problems we'll discuss. One is for row major and the next one is for column major. So I have taken an example problem. See, this is a worked out example. So consider the array A. A is an array of order m into n. What is this? Your 25 into 4, m into n cross matrix, m into n. So your m value is 25, your n value is 4. With the base value 2000. What is here? So we'll write the given data. So we'll extract the given data. What is given? Your m value. Your m is 25. Your n is 4. Okay, with the base value, that is your base of A. What is your base of A? You have 2000. And one word per memory location, that is your W. Your W is 1. Find the address of A of 12 and 3 they are given. So your I value. So in this I can draw I is 12, J is 3. Okay, I is 12, J is 3. In row major and column major. First I will solve this for row major. Row major, the formula is location of A of I and J is equal to base of A plus W. See, this is row major. I need to multiply n with the row. N into I minus LB plus J minus LB. So this is the formula. Now I substitute location of A of 12 and 3 is equal to, what is your base? 2000. W is 1. N is 4. Na? Your n value is 4. Your I value is 12 minus your lower bound. Your lower bound is always 0. Lower bound is 0 plus your J value is 3 minus 0. So according to your Goldman's rule, first we'll solve what is inside the bracket. So 12 minus 0 is 12. 12 4s are 48. Okay, 4 2s are 8, 4 1s are 4. Plus 3 minus 0 is 3. Okay. So now 2000 plus, what is 48 plus 3? 51. 51 into 1 is 51. Okay. So your base address is 2051. So the location A of I and J, we have 2051 is the address of the element of the location A of 12 and 3. Okay, I repeat. So in the given problem, we have taken m, n, base, w, lower bound, and just have taken what is I value and what is j value. This is not needed. So I have taken I value and j value. Now this is the formula I have applied. This is the formula to calculate the row major. So just based on this formula, we just substitute the value, we get this answer. Next, the same problem we'll do it for column major. Column major, only here we have a change. Instead of m, here we have to multiply it by m. Instead of n, here you have to multiply it by m. So here again the substitution changes. So your base is 2000 plus 1. I value 12 minus 0 plus what is your m? M is 25. 25 into what is your j? J value is 3. Okay. So 2000 as it is plus we solve inside the bracket. What is 12 minus 0 is 12 plus 3 minus 0 is 3 only. What is 25 into 3? 3 5s are 15. 3 2s are 6, 75. So we have 75. 75 plus 12 how much? 87. Okay. So we have 2000 plus 87 is nothing but 2 2087 is the answer for your column major. Okay, this is about your row major and column major. Next we will discuss about the advantages, disadvantages and applications of arrays, and we will wind up. Next session we will discuss about stacks. Okay students, in today's session we discussed about insertion sort. We discussed the insertion sort algorithm, we did the tracing. Then we have seen the representation of two-dimensional array, that is row major and column major. I spoke about how to represent the matrices by using row major and column major. We even discussed the formula. We solved an example, one for row major and one for column major. Now this is the last concept in the arrays. So two-dimensional arrays, we will discuss the advantages, disadvantages and the applications. Then we will wind up the session. For your next session, we will start with the stacks. Okay, now we will discuss the applications of arrays. So arrays are used to implement the other data structure such as heap, hash, tables, queue, stacks. So your first application is, it is used to implement the other DS. DS stands for data structure. So such as heap, hash, tables, queue, stacks, etc. So it is also used to implement, now how we have seen in the two-dimensional array, the matrices. This array is used to implement mathematical vectors as well as matrices. Next application is, many databases include one-dimensional array whose elements are recorded. So many database uses one-dimensional array to record the elements. So this is about your application. So we have three applications. One is, the arrays are used to implement the other data structure. It is used to implement the mathematical vectors and matrices. Next, even in the database they use one-dimensional array to store the elements. Okay, next we have the advantages. So I have written one advantage. The rest two advantages you can take from your applications. This first two points you can even include in your advantages. So only I have written only one point. It is used to represent multiple data items of same type by using only single name. The next advantage is nothing but it is used to implement the data structure, other data structure, and it is also used to implement the mathematical vectors and the implementation of mathematical vectors and the matrices. Okay, next we will discuss the disadvantage. In the disadvantage, the first disadvantage is, initially when you want to use an array in the declaration part, suppose I will declare my array size is 100. So initially you need to know how many array elements you are going to store. So in advance we need to know the array size, and initially we are reserving the space in the memory. So this is one disadvantage. So in advance we should know what is the how many elements you are going to store. Okay, and since the array is static in structure, once you declare the array, again we can't dynamic see in the runtime. If you want to the memory, you want more memory. Suppose I need to store 10 elements. I have declared my array size is 5. So here you will have a error because you reserved the less memory. Dynamically it can't change. Okay, since the array size is static in nature, so we have, if memory is less, means we have a problem. So always we need to reserve the memory, more memory we need to reserve. That itself is a next disadvantage. Why? Because since array size is fixed, we can't change it since it is static in nature. So once it is fixed, so we may allocate more memory, more than what we require. For example, usually we will give the array size as 50 like that. So even in your program, in your first year program or even in your second year, you usually reserve the array size minimum to 20 or maximum you may give it 50. But how many array elements you will be inputting? Only 5. So that is where, if you out of C you reserve 50 bytes, but you will be using only 5 bytes to store your elements, that is a loss. Okay, that is waste of memory. So that is a disadvantage. Your next disadvantage, since the array size is fixed, we allocate more than what is required, so there is wastage of memory. Next, the elements are stored in consecutive. See, consecutive means one after the other we store the array elements in a linear fashion, in a continuous manner. So that is a problem when insertion and deletion comes. Why? Because insertion and deletion comes, if it is trees or graphs, the elements are randomly stored. So there, whenever we want, we go to that particular node, we can delete or we can add. But since here we need to traverse in a linear fashion in an array, so the insertion of an element as well as the deletion of an element becomes time consuming. That is your next disadvantage. So this is about your two-dimensional array. So we have discussed the searching, sorting, and even today's class we discussed sorting, and we winded up with the arrays. Next session we will see about stacks. Thank you.